It's time now for French Connections, our weekly look at the intricacies of life here in France. And this week we do have a biggie. We're going to wade into a controversy that is raging across the country. It concerns the local burkini bans. Now, those have been popping up in coastal towns all over the summer. And for those of you who have not been following this story, the burkini is a full-body swimsuit that's worn by some Muslim women that covers everything except for your face, your hands, and your feet. Now, the first question here to Florence Villeneuve, our French Connections pro, is why have the local mayors been banning the burkini in the first place?
Well, mayors have been citing a wide range of reasons. Some have been citing hygienic reasons, for instance. A lot of them have said it's a question of public order and security, given the current state of emergency that we're still here in France in the wake of the terrorist attacks. Others have gone further, though, and say that the burkini is a symbol of religious extremism and thus an insult to France's state secularism, laïcité, this very important thing that we've already talked about here on French Connections. Why don't we actually just listen to some of these mayors to explain why they've been banning the burkini?
I want to put an end to this clothing apartheid that goes against the community. This is France. This is the French Republic. Everyone is equal, without any distinction of race or religion.
Given the current climate we're in, everyone needs to make an effort to protect social harmony.
Now, what that mayor mentioned there, that idea of social harmony, is not really an expression we use that much in English, but it is truly fundamental to understanding what the burkini ban and what the debate are all about here in France.
That's right. It's our word du jour, in fact. Vivre ensemble, living together in harmony. Now, it's a very fundamental thing here in France. In fact, French authorities are terrified of the opposite of vivre ensemble, living together. They're terrified of a society broken up into competing ethnic, racial, or religious communities. This is known as communautarisme here in France. Now, authorities argue that secularism, laïcité, is the glue that allows French society to live together in harmony. The problem is, though, that France's estimated 5 to 6 million Muslims also often feel targeted or stigmatized. In the name of living together and laïcité, headscarves were banned in public schools in 2004. In 2010, it was the full face covering veil, the niqab or the burqa, that was banned from public space. And now you have this burkini debate.
Now, interestingly, French authorities, of course, at the top level have been weighing in as well. Prime Minister Manuel Valls, for example, has said the burkini is provocative, archaic, not compatible with the values of the French Republic. And yet, he said there's no need to legislate on a national level.
That's right. Now, he gave an interview with a local paper, La Provence, that got a lot of attention because he gave his support to these local mayors that are banning the burkini. This is a quote from that interview. The burkini is not a new range of swimwear, a fashion. It's the expression of a political project, a counter-society based notably on the enslavement of women. And he actually even went further and joined calls for French Muslims to be more discreet. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of people were outraged by these comments, and critics say, this is an unnecessary scandal here in France, a convenient distraction from real problems like unemployment or the terrorist threat. In fact, some people say this scandal could actually fuel a jihadist propaganda. Let's listen to some of these critics.
It's catastrophic, but unfortunately it's symptomatic of the political climate we're in. There's a succession of scandals, one after the other, to occupy public and media space. But politicians are failing to put forward a unifying vision for the French.
Now, this is so fascinating for people who are outside of France to hear about this, because France is the land where you can go topless on a beach without any problem, and yet you cannot wear a burkini. How do French people, what do they think about this ban?
As you can imagine, it's a really mixed bag, and there are some really different opinions. I pulled together just a selection. Let's listen.
It's a step backwards with respect to women's rights.
It's as if we went swimming with huge crosses. Enough is enough.
On beaches, I don't mind. I see topless women, and that bothers me even more.
It's ridiculous. I see naked people all the time. Why can't I cover myself up? We can do what we want.
Now, many people have taken to social media to continue this debate, and it's been fascinating to watch. I've pulled out just a selection. A lot of people, for instance, have shared this image where you can see they're comparing the burkini to a wetsuit, wondering how in the world can a piece of clothing be a security threat. But others say, no, let's not be naive. This is not just a piece of clothing. It's a symbol of oppression, of control over women.
And yet on the flip side, other people, including the woman who created the burkini herself, say it's a form of emancipation.
That's right. Some people say that the burkini was created in the first place to include women, to not exclude them, but to allow them to come to the beach in the first place. Now, this is another issue that's coming up. A lot of people accuse authorities of hypocrisy. By telling women they can't wear something, France is guilty of controlling women as well. This is a cartoonist named Nawak, where you can see he says that freedom of choice for women is still too often made by men. Now, another thing that prompted a lot of outrage on social media were those images of armed cops asking a woman to remove what appeared to be a burkini. And now, several people said that this made them ashamed of being French and actually accused authorities of opening Pandora's box. You can see this is the Daily Mail's take on things. The burkini cops. A lot of people wonder, what's going to come next after the burkini?
But there's something really important for our viewers to remember is that there is a real deep debate here over the struggle for French identity.
That's right. French sociologists say that France is still trying to sort out its post-colonial identity and to come to terms with the fact that France has become a multicultural, multi-ethnic nation where being French means different things to different people. Now, some people see this widening identity in France as a threat to that fundamental goal we were talking about of living together. But others say that if France wants to continue living together in harmony, it needs to accept a broader concept of French identity, where burkinis, monokinis, and bikinis can all live together in harmony.
All right, France Villeneuve, thank you so much for that very in-depth look at something that is very complicated, the burkini ban. If you want to weigh in on the debate, feel free to send us a tweet or check us out on Facebook, and also send us your other questions and other things you'd like us to check out in French Connections.